It's another one of those puzzling indices where we've got it at its lowest in 11 years, 21 points, but we have seen a pickup in activity since the second quarter of last year coming through to the first quarter of this year. So why confidence so low when we are seeing activity on the mend?
First things first, conditions are extremely tough still. Very much insufficient demand, fierce tendering competition, profits are under pressure, contractors have to reduce their costs, staff retrenchment still going on. So I don't think there should be any mistake as to how tough conditions really are. At the same time, there seems to be a slight tick up in activity levels, which can be traced to the provinces. And one hardly holds one's breath as to how strong this is, but the point is activity levels don't seem to be falling further. So they are at very low levels. But there seems to be the first indication of an improvement. And that could well be the cyclical turn for the industry, but very gradually.
You said spending by the provinces. You do point out in the commentary today that we were at the financial year end and you may have had provinces trying to push through some spending that was still on their budgets ahead of the end of that financial year. So do you think this provincial spending or this public sector spending will continue through into the second quarter?
There, only time will tell. But especially when you speak to the civil engineering industry as such, you do get the impression that there are more contracts coming free. So that may suggest that there is sustainable power behind what we're seeing here rather than just budgetary movements.
Are you seeing anything coming through from the private sector at this stage?
Very little, both in terms of housing project infrastructure or the mining industry, things are at a low level.
Of course, there has been a lot of anticipation for all the government's infrastructure spending that is anticipated going forward. Power stations to be built, roads and rail and stuff to be upgraded. When would you anticipate that to start coming through? Well,
the point there is important to remember is that there is an actual very large baseload of activity going on. In other words, there's ongoing work. One thinks of the power stations for Eskom, but that is not necessarily accelerating. While other types of public sector work, one thinks of the Gautrain or certain types of Sunroll road contracts are actually winding down. So in the public sector there's a very large body of contract work going on in any case, but beyond that we can identify maintenance, replacement and new work that needs to be done, but that so far the contracts have not been awarded, and it is in that particular area that one waits and sees. But I think we must not forget that there is a very large load of base work going on.
Well, you said there was very tough competition for any projects coming up at this stage. Would this be spread across all companies in the sector? Do you think some companies would be enjoying the lion's share of some of those projects?
Yes, by all means. We find specifically that the smaller contractors, which are limited to a specific city, they are in the worst condition at this point in time. It is the companies operating nationally that seem to be being favored by the provincial contracts coming free. And of course, when it comes to the very large contracts, we're talking now the public corporations. That is especially where the big ones come in. But there again, people seem to be waiting for evidence of more contracts becoming available.
You also point out in the commentary that the civil construction sector is really leading out of the cycle ahead of the building sector. Why are we having this reversal of a trend?
Well, two reasons there, I would say. The first one is the negative one, in that the residential building cycle seems to be very much delayed. I think very much to do with the credit cycle changes that have taken place and that have put property under pressure. Also, the non-residential building cycle traditionally lags, so the building space generally is going to be late this time around. While at the same time, the construction side is more dependent now on public infrastructure. The money is there, the need is there, and one now gains the impression that there is actually some action going on, and we start to see more contract flow. And cyclically, that would mean that this time around construction may lead.
How about the mining sector at this stage? Because we have seen in previous months mining production starting to pick up quite nicely. Is this leading to activity in that sector as well?
Difficult to say. We don't see it in the construction game just as yet. But yeah, with these very high commodity prices and balance sheets improving and prospects generally positive, provided there are no other regulatory inhibitions on fixed investment, there should be more flow through. But so far that remains missing.
And just quickly, given the economic recovery we have seen, and perhaps has come through a bit slower than many would have anticipated, is this how you'd have expected the construction and the building sector to perform at this stage of the recovery?
Certainly the way we've seen in the last 12 months, the building sector's prolonged delay, is not a surprise, given its reasons. When it comes to the construction game, the public sector is not well placed in terms of manpower, technical manpower, to see a quick build-up in activity levels. But the finances are there, the needs are there, and we now also of late see evidence that the government has identified this as an area that there needs to be made haste. So we're looking forward to see evidence of that in new contract flow, and yes, in the first quarter there seemed to have been some evidence of that, but obviously we would like to see far more evidence of that.